Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Justin.
What's on our table today?
Discoveries.
Discoveries is a game that plays with 2 to 4 players. It can take you 60 minutes, and they recommend you can play it with ages 14 and up.
Yep.
It's published by Ludonaut.
Here we go. Alright, so, Discoveries. What do you think of the components of Discoveries?
I think the components are really good, actually. I like that it's quite minimalistic for components.
Yeah.
You've got this board here, which they didn't oversize it. They made it really nice because, I mean, you've got the 3 cards. And the colors that they chose were really pretty. Yeah,
art's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And I like that it's got cards, dice, and these little boards, and that's it.
The fact that the cards are double-sided, that's awesome. Yep, that's very cool.
And, well, that's part of the mechanic of the game.
Yes.
The double-sided cards.
Yep.
And I do like wooden dice. It has wooden dice.
Yeah.
They make me nostalgic wooden dice. That's why I like them. And they sound nice when they roll. And they've got the rounded corners, so they have a little bit more extra randomness to them, I think.
I think because they're so light, they bounce really well, too, which is great for rolling.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think the components are excellent.
Sweet.
So what do you think about the strategery, which is the strategy, tactics, and luck?
There's a lot of all 3 of them in here. The first thing with the strategy, that long-term kind of goal setting, is when you are looking at the sets that you can get and trying to get a whole lot of the TPs. There's a lot of points in there. So that's going to have to be a strategic decision. I noticed very early in our game that you were getting a couple of the symbols right away, and I only had 1, so I wasn't really going for it. So that's kind of a strategic decision. There's tons of tactics in the game because you're always trying to deal with what dice you have available, what cards are coming out in terms of special abilities. Is there a way that you can get 2 discoveries in a go so you can get that extra turn, but you need to balance that with not wasting too many turns to try to get a double go, because then you're actually not getting anything. A whole bunch of tactical decisions there. I think our playthrough kind of demonstrated that really, really well, because at one point you were like, I could trigger right now, and that means that fish card is going to be out on my turn, which I could get it, and you made a really awesome tactical decision to not let that happen.
That was the only awesome tactical decision I made in the entire game, though.
It was pretty good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so lots of tactics that way. Because you can grab dice in several different ways, do you grab like the most dice to roll the most stuff? Or is that going to be too dangerous because then an opponent can just grab their dice back and steal them from you? Lots of great tactical decisions. As for the randomness, you roll your dice. That's random. The deck of cards, there's going to be a number of cards taken out of the deck at the beginning of every game regardless of player count. So you're not quite sure what's in the deck every game.
But the number of cards removed depends on the player count.
This is true. Yeah. I could see maybe with a 4-player game, because only 5 cards get removed, you might look at those 5 cards and see what's out. But it's not going to matter that much because there's so many cards still left in. Whereas for a 2-player game, because there's 25 cards removed,
it makes a big difference in the game that you play each time.
It's kind of weird. It's almost more important to look because so many cards are gone, but at the same time, I'm not going to remember all those cards that are gone.
It's true, because if you know how many, say, fish cards are in the deck, you'll know to not just be waiting, because maybe all the fish cards got removed, and you're just waiting and waiting for one to come up. Had we taken a look at what got removed, we would know not to base our whole strategy on trying to get the 4 points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's some trickiness there. What makes that even trickier in random is, say you have the deck of cards. We had the deck of cards up here on the box, so you could always see what was kind of coming out next. But as soon as you get one of the negotiation tribe cards, that card's gone right out of the game. Yeah. So there's a lot of very interesting, random, chaotic things that can occur. But there's a lot of ways you can mitigate all of them, which is really cool.
Yeah. See, and that's why I struggle with the game myself, because I'm not a good mitigator.
Yeah.
And to try, like, in a game like this, for some reason, the tactical decisions, I have a real hard time determining which tactical decision is most to my benefit.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's why I have such a tricky time with this game, because it's not, for me and how my brain works, it's not obvious to me which decision is the right one to make.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, I'm just kind of feeling like I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Which is not a good way to play this game, because you have to be able to assess the dice that are available and the cards that are available and make the best point decision for the outcome. Like, I'm good at keeping track of how many TPs. That's good. And I'm good at the set collection part. It's these points here and then trying to get those double goes.
Yeah.
I think I get so focused on my end goal strategy and then so focused on being efficient trying to get double goes that I just fall to pieces on the tactic side.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I find this game is frustrating.
There you go. It is a deceptively complicated game, because on your turn, you're either going to gather some dice and roll them, or you're going to take one kind of die and place them to do an action. And that's it. But there are so many interactions between all the choices that you can do that there is a lot to keep track of from turn to turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of just rolled into complexity there.
Yeah.
I was going to say that it's not a complex game, because you have the dice here, so you're either going to place dice.
Yeah.
Or you're going to use those dice to do something, like place them out in areas.
Yeah.
Or you're going to recall some dice and you're going to roll them. Those are your choices.
Yeah.
For what you're going to do on your turn.
Yep.
So it's not a complicated mechanism to put your mind around, but it's complicated to work those mitigations well.
Yeah.
That's complex for me. And it's also complex in choosing even these cards to get really good special powers. Which you have to know which ones are going to interact good with each other so that you can actually get some stuff done.
Yeah.
Which I find that part, for me, is a little complicated.
Yeah.
So that part's frustrating. But I don't think it's a complex game to teach.
No.
Because it's an easy set of mechanisms to grasp.
Yeah.
It's just to learn how they all need to work together to get yourself an engine.
Yeah. And that's why I say it's like a deceptively complex game. Because when you're playing it, it doesn't feel complex. But when you're learning how to play it well, there's a lot of hidden depth.
It's complicated.
Yeah, a lot of hidden depth.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of that, the whole game is a race. You're trying to race to get as many cards as possible before all the cards are gone. So you've constantly got to weigh and balance. Do I spend extra turns to get a double go? And it can be very tempting to always try to get that double go, because it's like, hey, I'm doing better because I'm doing the double go.
Right.
But if you've wasted 3 turns setting up a double go, you're actually behind.
And I think that's where I get swept up in it, and I fall behind.
Yeah.
Every time I play the game, I think.
Yeah. So we kind of already did go through the complexity.
Right. We talked about how difficult it was and how complex it was. But what is the rulebook like? Is it good?
The rulebook is very, very good.
Okay, and setup's a breeze. Like, I'm pretty sure it only took us 2 minutes to set up the game.
Yeah. And when you're used to the game, even though there is a lot of decisions to be made, the game goes very quickly.
It does.
Yeah. Which is kind of
like,
nice.
Even though it probably did take us an hour to play, maybe. I'm not sure. I won't know until I edit it. But it doesn't feel like an hour.
No.
It feels like it goes really fast.
Yeah.
What would you say about the playability?
For mechanics versus theme, there's actually a lot of really interesting thematic choices that you're making. So negotiation with the different tribes to get special powers, that's very thematic. So the dice themselves are very thematic and very cool. They represent the enlisted men in the Corps.
Or ladies.
Or ladies. Probably men back then.
In the olden days.
But sure. So the ones that are the same color as your character are most loyal to you. The gray ones aren't really more loyal to anyone. They'll just work for anyone. But at the same time, I could be walking through camp and I could be like, you, we're doing this, regardless of what color they are, which makes sense. But if at any point you like, I need people to help me out, the people who are most loyal to you are going to run to your side. So it's very cool how that works mechanically in the game. Because I can pick up dice from this side, and they could be any color, and I can roll them, I can use them, but at any moment, you might call them back. And I'm kind of left in the lurch.
And I like
That's
how
neat.
Each face of the die represents, like, footsteps, or I went on a horse.
Yeah.
And then you're like, when you're placing these dice here, I wonder if you can see, yeah, you can up in the corner. These dice, you have to place them off first of the kind of mission or expedition you went on.
Yeah, you're getting everything ready to go on the expedition.
Right, but then nothing's finalized until you write it in your journal with the A, because it's the journal. It's like, oh yeah, I did that. I wrote it down, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then even to negotiate with the tribes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to go see the negotiator of the tribe, and you're going to negotiate with the tribe.
Yeah.
So
you send this guy off, who's good at that, and he goes and negotiates. This guy here, really good at getting the horses and ready, so he goes off and prepares the horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very thematic.
I mean, they can say that it's more of an abstract game with a theme pasted on, I guess.
I don't know.
There could be an argument.
I suppose.
But I find what you're doing in the game is making the stories in my mind that makes it thematic.
Yes. Yeah. It does create a narrative of what's happening.
Yeah, and we tend to like those kind of games.
Yeah, very much. Right on. It scales with the number of players very, very well. Mostly because it only goes up to 4. And the turns are very, very quick, which is really nice.
Unless you're like me and you struggle with those tactical versus strategic decisions, and that can bog it down a little bit.
Yeah. For
me, anyway. But you're very snappy with your decisions. You always know what you want to do next.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's a lot of debating with myself on what I need to do next.
Yeah, but because you've got one thing to do and that's it, even when you're having a little bit AP, your turn doesn't take forever.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so that's nice.
And with more players, it's going to give me more time to think of my turn.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would take any more time for one of our games if we added 1 or 2 more players.
Yeah. Although it is interesting because during downtime, you do have to keep an eye on what everyone's doing. Because you got to be checking, like, are they setting up for a double run? Are they taking my dice? And if I take my dice back, is that going to mess them up, so it's going to make it worse?
It's true.
See, there is some of that.
See, I get so focused on my game that I'm not really looking at yours.
No.
But say if I did notice you were having a double run, when I finish a mission, I could take the card that you were double running for, and then that's going to mess you up.
Exactly.
I'm not good enough at the game, though, to do that.
Yeah. Tricky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. Game length is a short game. I don't think we've ever had a game go over an hour with any player count at all. For replayability, it is pretty much the same game every time. There's no real variable setup, except for the fact that some of the cards are out.
And then the cards are double-sided, and you never know which side they're going to get flipped on.
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit more variable.
Yeah, but that is about it. Does Discoveries have the awesomeness or the cuteness?
That's a hard decision. I mean, the box cover's pink. That's pretty cute.
It's very nice artwork. It's very cool.
Although, I have to say it's not overwhelmingly cute and it's not overwhelmingly awesome for me.
Gotcha.
So it would be equal, but on a low degree.
Okay. I find the artwork is pretty awesome. And
I mean, it's nice for the theme of the game.
Yeah. And I do really enjoy all the different ways you can mitigate everything in the game. For me, that's awesome. For you, I know not so much.
It's just a mechanic or mechanism that I find difficult.
Right.
That's all. So if you had a game group interested in Discoveries, who would you recommend it to?
It's going to have to be a small group because it only plays up to 4.
Right.
Yeah. They have to be into kind of the mid-weight Euro-y games. But at the same time, be okay with there being a lot of hidden depth. Because it's a game that's very easy to learn how to play and difficult to master. If you got a gaming group that loves a lot of apparent random stuff, random dice, random cards, but a whole lot of ways to make that work for you, that's probably going to be the game group that's going to like this.
It's true.
So, is Discoveries a game that we are going to trade or keep?
Kind of indifferent.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind playing it some more to see if I could figure it out. But on the other hand, if I never played it again, I wouldn't be too sad about it.
Okay.
You know, I'm really, really at this point indifferent about it.
Indifferent about it?
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it quite a bit. If I never got to play it again, I wouldn't be totally upset. It's not a game that I get too excited about, but I enjoy playing it quite a bit. It's a very unique mechanism of dice and stuff that I like.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that I know I'm probably gonna not do good at, and only want to play if I'm in the mood to like really try to investigate what I'm doing wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Do we finish Discoveries as sweethearts or rivals? We finished as
rivals.
Sweethearts.
What?
I don't know. I don't find this game frustrating or upsetting or...
It's frustrating and upsetting.
Yeah, I don't find it overly challenging.
Because you beat me by 13 points in the playthrough.
Yeah.
But the last game we played before this, you beat me by 30 points.
So
no wonder you don't care. But yeah, it makes me cranky.
Yeah, but at no point did I feel like I had to really struggle hard.
I know, and that's why I'm so frustrated. You don't have to keep rubbing it in my face.
Well, no, I'm trying to explain why I chose Sweethearts.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, because for me, it's just a fun game.
We'll have to put a rant on that one.
I think this game's gone.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm just not good at it.
Yeah. Yep.
Give me tips and pointers.
Okay.
And maybe I'll try it again.
There we go.
Not you, I'm asking them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not going to talk about Discovery ever again.
I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it's hard. I find it hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the end.
There we go. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching our review. We'll see you in the next video.
See ya.
Here we go.
It's magic.
It's just a box.
It's just a box. First of all, the deck of cards...
It's not magical.
Nope.